So I built and ran my own simulated trading bot during the coronavirus outbreak. My bot was running for a week. It was trading between the 12th of March and the 19th of March, and I gave it a simulated $1,000. Yes, I know it's not on Monday to Friday, but I kept hitting bugs and needed to start again. But at the end of the week, I no longer had $1,000. In fact, I had much, much more. Let's see what happened. Pretty hard to ignore the change of scenery compared to the usual Code and Create office, social distancing and working from home, am I right? So a few weeks ago I stumbled onto a video by Carl Halden and he built his own simulated trading bot. I enjoyed it. During the video he covers the steps involved in how he's gone about solving this problem and completing this automation task. Off the video goes with some really nice cinema effects and then summarises the video with the end results, which, sorry for any spoilers, was a 2% growth on the $1,000 investment. It was far from perfect, but it was a great experiment nevertheless. Now, to be fair to Carl, he does explain that he's not an expert in trading, far from it, and neither am I. But I must admit, I was quite lost in the discussion of the logic on when to buy and exactly when to sell the stocks. So I thought I'd recreate it as best as I possibly can, recreating the steps that Carl outlines and filling the gaps with my angle and my take on things where it starts to get a little bit open for interpretation. So the big thing here that I didn't expect was coronavirus. Who did? COVID-19, the global pandemic that struck the markets hard and just so happened to take mass effect during the week that I was running my simulated trading bot. So as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to replicate as much as I possibly could based on what Carl had done, his logic, his approach to his video, to try and simulate as close as possible as we can. Now, a quick plug for Carl. Anyone who's not already seen his video, please do go check it out. Bottom line is, he's a very entertaining YouTuber. He seems to have a passion for automating programs and bots using Python. Just as a quick warning, there's absolutely no Python in this video. Apologies in advance. Instead, what you'll see is Microsoft.NET and C#. But just because the different programming languages used, the same approaches will be used, the same design patterns, the same problem solving tactics, and we should end up with the same tool that does the same job. Us C# developers are just able to code without our hoods up. So as I mentioned, we're going to recap over the 3 steps that Carl outlines in his video. These are as follows. Step 1, find an API for stock prices. Step 2, find relevant stocks. Step 3, find a trading strategy. So number 1 was actually really straightforward. We signed up and obtained a free account with Alpha Vantage. There are a couple of endpoints which, to a noob like me, caused a bit of confusion of which one to use. And in the end, I found it easiest to read the contents of the CSV data and take the latest prices from there. The normal API approach caused me a bit of issues based on the formatting of the return data. In brief, the data containers are not defined as titled objects, but instead they are named based on the date. For step 2, Carl uses Yahoo Finance and used the web scraping approach with Selenium to get the data of the top movers of that given moment in time. I used the same data source, but rather than scraping the data, I noticed that the website embedded the data in a JSON blob within the HTML page. So rather than traversing through the HTML elements to read the top 5 rows of a defined table, I was able just to extract that JSON blob and deserialize it into its native object and take the top 5 movers from there. So step 3 was the most unclear. We have a little snippet and a link that talks about trading logic, which doesn't really give us any clear definitive direction from a programming perspective. So this is where some of my own assumptions have come into play. And let's start from the top. So Carl gets the top 5 movers and splits the pot 5 ways and buys as many stocks as possible. Rinse and repeat. I decided to buy and hold the stock for as long as they remained a top 5 mover. So every minute I'll recheck the Yahoo figures. If a new top 5 movers list did not hold a stock I had ownership of, I would then sell it for the current market value. The other key differences here are the redistribution of the funds. So let's just think about a scenario where you start off with $1,000 and you will split it 5 ways across the 5 stocks. That gives you $200 per stock to play with. What happens if you have a stock which costs more than $200 to buy in? You can't buy any of that, and that money is locked up. You can't do anything with it. So instead, what I do is each rerun we do, we repool that same money, split it in 5 ways again. So if it was $200 that were left and you split that over 5 ways, this is embarrassing, 40? Yeah, you get $40 each. And then we go rinse through repeat again. And obviously $40 is even less than 200, so you're not going to get any of that first stock. However, ideally, you will get more of the other ones if they're lower than 40. So you're trying to use your money as much as you possibly can rather than holding on to cash which isn't going to do anything. So to summarize, every 5 minutes we're going to rerun and check that top movers lift. If we hold anything that isn't in that top 5 movers, we sell it. One final disclaimer here, this is not real trading, and I also don't believe that Carl did real trading either. The biggest giveaway is the lack of the exchange fees. So whenever you make a buy order or a sell order, that they'll be subjected to an exchange fee, and those aren't mentioned at all. So neither am I, but at the end we'll crunch some data and we'll figure out a simulated cost per each of the transactions I made, and we'll deduct that away from the profit at the end. A kaboom. One flaw in the free Alpha Vantage 5 call per minute API comes with needing you not only need to get the top 5 movers, but actually you also need to get the price of the stock that you want to sell, and you want to sell it because it's no longer a top 5 mover. So the first one you encounter that you want to do that's going to be 6 calls you want to make, which obviously is more than 5. So the API will reject that request. It made the whole thing blow up. To get around that, I listen for the error comes in, I sit on it, I pause the whole thing for 60 seconds, and then carry on as normal.
So, the big question, what did we actually make? We made a total of $863 in profit, and this was completed over 1,102 trades, which were buy and sells combined across 102 different stocks. This graph is showing us each of the individual stock types that we bought which made us money or lost money. To keep the graph actually readable, I've omitted all stocks that made or lost less than $1. So to dive in a little bit deeper, this is our top profiting stock. We can see the breakdown of the buy prices and when we bought the stock, at what price we bought them for, and then you can see that we dumped them all in a single transaction on this given day here. The graph in the background is also a snapshot of the historical prices for this stock, and you can see the big spike showing just exactly how volatile the market was for this stock on this time frame. But wait, we mentioned commission earlier on, so I've found some mixed reading here. We've got some places that appear to be offering a zero commission offering, which would make it a no-brainer. I'm not sure though if those zero commission exchanges have any sort of membership fees or account fees, which is how they make their money. I found other references as well which refer to an average of between 1 and 2% for any given transaction as a commission fee. So if we take 1% of every transaction value, be it a buy or sell, we can come to a combined cost in commission of $436. This leaves us with a final profit of $427. Make of that what you will. So next steps, well, I'd be curious to see how this bot plays out with less volatile markets, but I must admit, I think that the majority of the success here is because the markets are so volatile. Only time will tell. We can set this off again and see what the results are like when the markets are calmed down a little bit, but as of right now, there's no plans to do that. If anybody's interested in a follow-up video walking through the code that I wrote to build this bot, then let me know, and maybe we can put together a little walkthrough video as well. So that pretty much concludes the video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to see anything else on this video or anything else completely different, please do get in touch and let us know. As always, you can get in touch on Twitter. We are @CodeAndCreate. You can email us at info@codeandcreate.co.uk, or you can just visit the website at codeandcreate.co.uk.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye.